Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance. We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar per dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
A personal touch. A high level of trust, whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
One hot and ready pizza, $5.
Get a large hot and ready pepperoni pizza for $5, or come in and try our new deep dish pizza for just $8. It has more cheese, more pepperoni, and 8 crispy caramelized cheese crust corner slices in every box. It's hot and ready every day from 4 to 8 p.m. and just $8 for a large, only at Little Caesar.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Pike County Bank, ladies and gentlemen. If it don't say Pike County Ford,
Bank.
Pike County Ford, believe you me, you don't want it. And my good friend Ricky and all the great folks out at Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. And of course, they've got these Cardinal hats, and I'm sure if you go out there and pay some interest to a great Ford F-150 today, they'll give you one of these hats, I promise you. They're great people, and we're glad they're in town, and Ricky and all the great folks out at Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. Mike Amos is on the line over there. Mike, I was looking at the advertising, and it has only 2 pages of sports. Something must be wrong somewhere. What do you think?
Well, I mean, newspapers definitely don't seem like they have as much thickness as maybe they did back in the past.
No question about it. And I can remember when they were so thick you couldn't even roll them up, you know?
Yeah, I live in Birmingham, and I think the Birmingham News runs 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy. My mother-in-law actually gets Tuscaloosa News because it runs every day.
And it's a shame that it's like that, because I can remember when they had the Birmingham News, the Birmingham Post-Herald. They were great newspapers for a long time.
Yeah, I was mentioning, I guess we weren't on the air, but Ronald Acuna Jr., the rookie phenom for the Braves, has now hit 5 home runs in the last 5 games, the most ever from a rookie. He hit 2 more last night, but he's also led off the last 3 games. Of course, that's, the first inning, he's led off of a home run. So, this is a really amazing player. Of course, everybody in baseball said that this was going to be the top player, top rookie out there, and it seems like they were correct. The Braves are really playing their best baseball now and have their best record of the year, and have a chance to win the East.
Well, that is fantastic, and of course you get a good chance.
They're 67 and 51, which is really, really impressive.
I don't see why we don't drive over there and see them play before the season's over.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's ever like a businessman special, like around 11 o'clock, I would definitely consider that.
Well, let me just say this: there's 5 straight home games, I know, maybe 6 straight coming up, and to go see the Braves play at home. Mike, some terrible news out of Wetumpka this morning. Their great quarterback, who I've been raving on all year long, their senior quarterback, J.D. Martin, has torn his knee up and will be out for the season. Martin was a finalist for the 6A Back of the Year and 5A, 7A All-Metro Player of the Year after rushing last year for 2,039 yards and 23 touchdowns, and throwing for another 1,400 yards and 13 more touchdowns, is now out for the year. He has a tear in the MRI. The MRI has shown a torn ACL, so when that happens, you're pretty much out for the season. And I know the folks in Wetumpka have to be awfully sad today because, man, they were looking at a banner year, Mike. I'm talking about maybe a state championship year.
Yeah, I mean, you hope that he can rehab and get ready to, maybe still sign later on in February. But that is tough for Wetumpka.
Yeah. I've got the Pike Liberal Arts helmet on our show this morning, Mike, and they open the season this Friday night against Morgan Academy of Selma. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff from Delaney Kirby Stadium, and it'll kick off the football season, Mike, and the people at Pike have got to be excited. I don't know if they'll be able to hold all the folks. I really don't.
So who will play quarterback for Pike Lib this year? I know they lost their quarterback.
Well, they've got several good ones, but one of them is named Jade Sykes, and he is a outstanding athlete. And there are 3 or 4. I think they've got as many as 4 players that are working at quarterback. Sykes probably has more experience than anybody, and of course. You got the young phenom, Mike, in the background, but he's only in the 9th grade.
Who's that? Is that a Nelson?
Nelson. You're exactly right.
I mean, is David Nelson's kid?
Yeah, and of course he's a 9th grader, and but I tell you, you'll see him play some on the varsity.
I wonder if Wes Allen's son.
Yes, and he's Davis Allen is also in the works there. He's will be a junior, and he's an outstanding quarterback prospect. And
I'm getting old. I saw where Jody and Eddie Jeffcoat have a son out there playing this.
That's right, and Eddie is one of the coaches. And you know what I said to myself when I did the Meet the Patriots the other night is that they've got quite a coach in Jeffcoat. He knows a lot about the game, don't you think?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's no better dude out there than Eddie Jeffcoat.
I know it.
If they want to learn from somebody.
That's
right. What, you talking about an intimidating guy. When he was a senior and I was a sophomore, there wasn't too many of us sophomores that wanted to go against him.
No, you're right. He's a good football player. Of course, his daddy was a legendary football coach at Charles Henderson and at Troy University, and
yeah, his dad was a technician when it came to offensive line. I mean, he wanted everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
Your steps, your pulls, your arm motion.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I'd look at game film with him, and I mean, you're talking about a guy that was the master of offensive line.
No question about it. And of course, we lost him.
Sometimes you'd be in practice, and you'd have to run a play so many times, and you're just like, what's the point? But he was looking at every angle.
Yeah.
Your technique meant everything to him.
No question about it. And he taught that short step. A lot of folks out there that
we talked to Steve Campbell, the head coach at South Alabama, and he still teaches it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And of course, the only thing about it, it makes you have to think about something until you get down past.
It makes football not as fun, as far as just going out there and trying
going off the ball, yeah.
Hit somebody and knock the mess out of somebody. You got to make sure you're doing it the right way.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, his dad won the state championship at Charles Henderson in 1980, and he beat some great teams. I think in the playoffs he had to beat Eufaula and Greenville and Stanhope Elmore and then beat what's the school up there in North Alabama and Gadsden?
He beat
Hartsville.
Around Decatur.
Beat Hartsville for the state championship, and that was a great team led by a running back named Jerry Beverly, and a lot of great players on that team. And of course, the great one of all time, Mike, was Willie Collins. Man, what a great player he was. And after some sad news for Charles Henderson fans, and I'm being facetious here, when I was doing the picture day at Pike County High School the other day, Mike, all of the great Brundage family is back at Pike County High School.
Well, you got Mahans and
Mahans. All the Mahans and the Fosters are back at Pike County High School. So the Mahan that was at Charles Henderson, Mike, is now at Pike County High School.
Well, I imagine that's something that will make his dad proud. If that's Benny.
That's right. And I want to say it might be two of them now, but one of them looks just like Benny Mahan. I talk about Benny Mahan a lot on this show, and he might be the best high school player that's ever come through this part of the country. He was a great high school football player, and he was one of the strongest guys to ever play. Somebody told me he benched close to 500 pounds, Mike, and he was just a good player, and his family.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those legendary Pike County players. You know, you hear about them your whole life. You hear about the great running back
Coleman,
and then you hear about Benny Mahan, and Coleman ended up playing at Troy. I don't think Benny ever played college ball.
No, I don't think he did, but he was a great high school player.
You got guys like that, and then you got guys that played in the pros like Cornelius Griffin and Fred Holland and Quincy Jackson, and Chris Nixon played quarterback at Vanderbilt for 3 or 4 years. I mean, the list goes on and on. I still think one of the best players I ever saw down there was Carlos Carlisle.
Yeah, he was really good.
Linebacker.
Well, they've had some great ones, no question about it. And it goes all the way back to Alec Bowden.
I would be interested to talk to get Fred Holland and Wayne Grant in a conversation one day to see who they thought were the best to ever play out there.
Yeah, of course, they won some good ones. And like you mentioned, those Fosters were awfully good, too. Willie Collins was the same mold. You talk about Benny Mahan. Willie Collins would be in the same mold. Boy, what a great player. And, of course, he played at Troy and was an outstanding player at Troy University and played on a national championship team there. But I've always said if Willie Collins was 3 or 4 inches taller, he'd been a household name in the pros, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him when I was a kid going to a lot of those games. That's what I was telling you. I guess a long time ago, I always remember the smell of those buses when I was a little kid.
The sweat.
Like going by after the game to see the players.
Yeah. We were talking about that the other day. You remember chin straps? How did teams come up with the chin straps, Mike? Because their players would give away chin straps at the end of every game.
Really?
You remember that? You remember asking a player for a chin strap?
I don't really remember that.
Gosh, yeah. On the helmet, they had the chin strap, and a lot of kids, you used to do it. You used to have chin straps. But I've always wondered where they come up with all the chin straps because most of the players gave them away,
Yeah.
But this is...
Alabama's dealing with running back Najee Harris has got a foot injury, so he's going to be out of practice for another week or so. So that's one of Alabama's top running backs. Hopefully will be ready for the Louisville game.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, Troy is getting ready and for their big kickoff against Boise State. I made a prediction yesterday. I know everybody said, "Well, Mike, have you lost have you got a screw loose?" And people probably think that anyway. I'm getting more and more positive about this Troy team, especially if they can get by Boise to open the season, which I think they can do. And then I think they can beat Florida A&M on the second week. And then I think they can go to Nebraska and actually win the game. You know, this coach has just been there, 3 or 4 months. I just don't think he can have them where he wants to have them in that period of time. He's been there
since January.
Huh?
He's been there since January.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I think Troy could catch them at a good time and win the football game. And I'm going to see the game. I'm excited about it.
Did you ever in your life think when Troy was Division II that you would see Troy play Nebraska 4 times?
I know it'd be four times. And the last time we played them,
Omaha is a really nice, clean, beautiful city.
Yeah, I was telling a friend of mine that we would probably stay in Omaha at that same place, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you know, and you can also drive over the river over there into Iowa, and there's a lot of entertainment over there. And then
that's right.
You can go see Rosenblatt Stadium.
That's right.
The World Series is held every year, and you can tour Creighton University, which is a beautiful campus. And
if I remember right, Mike, the place over there is in Iowa. Isn't that right?
That's right, on the Iowa line.
On the Iowa line, yeah, where there's.
I'll say this: I've had a lot of steaks in my life. I'm a pretty big fan of eating steak, and those are definitely some of the best ones I've ever had.
Oh yeah, they're known. You know, they're famous for their steaks. You know, Mike, bittersweet news rattling around the circuit today. It was born in 1962 on the Troy State campus in Troy, Alabama.
Oh no!
2 years. Gone. It is gone almost. Most of Sartain Hall has been.
Somebody said David Felix and Coach Maestri got in there and got the crane got stopped.
The ghost of David Felix and John Maestri is in there, and of course John Archer, the great John Archer, and it was a wonderful place to play basketball, and it was built in 1962 and was renovated in 1998 and renamed the Trojan Arena in 99, and it served its purpose very well. Sartain was dedicated on November the 17th, 1962, and it was named after Oxford Sartain, who was a professor at Troy University, and
that's interesting.
Yeah, and of course, his in attendance at the 1962 dedication was his grandmother Claire Paulk Sartain, and so it was a wonderful day that back in January the 12th, November the 17th, 1962, and it went through some wonderful games and provided a great venue for not only how many graduations, big name entertainment, and of course great basketball for all those years, and it will be missed. It gave us 40 years.
I mean, it definitely served its purpose.
It was there for 40 years, and
it was there longer than that. Trojan Arena's only been open, it's 2018. Trojan Arena's only been open.
All right. It said it gave 40 years to Troy, and it was rewarded by knowing. All right, okay.
Only gave 50 years.
Well, it was 62. All right, that's 38. Do the math. 38 and.
I don't think Trojan Arena opened until 2012 or 13.
Yeah, all right. Do the math. 38 and 12. What is that? 50 years.
Yeah.
Around 50 years instead of 40 years, and again, what a great place it was, and.
You know, I'm sure Cheryl Crow. I was talking to Blake Crow the other day.
Yeah.
Cheryl worked out there for years. Had a key.
Cheryl Crow went to that place almost every day. And of course he had his own locker and everything. You're right. And
it's interesting when you told the story the other day about how they would have teams that would actually stay there. They
right. They sure would.
Showers and what, bunk beds?
Yeah, the visiting dressing rooms were, you had to walk downstairs. At first, when they first built that facility, the plan had to have an indoor swimming pool on the bottom floor. But they said they scratched it because it was going to cost so much money. But the dressing rooms were downstairs. You walk down from the court and into an area where it had showers and lockers and all that. And some of the teams from up north, especially the teams from up north, that would come here to play in a tournament or just would be traveling through, could stay there and they have a place to sleep and shower, and they had the cots and they slept there. Several it saved a lot of money. Baseball teams did the same thing. Several baseball teams used to come through here and spend a night in those quarters.
Yeah, I guess now as a baseball player, your goal will be trying to hit the new wellness center, hit the rec center from home plate.
Yeah, you're right. And it'll be somebody.
That'd be about 490 feet.
Shoot, maybe more than that. And see, that'd be glass too, probably.
I tell you what, that's going to be interesting to see when that's all done. I guess Sartain will just be parking.
Yeah, I think that's what the plan is. I hope it's going to be a multiple deck parking because that's what we need. We need a parking deck that'll park 400 or 500 cars.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I guess with the golf course, of course, it looks really good. All the golf course for the Troy University golf team, they've added a few holes and the practice facility. They can't really go that way anymore as far as parking.
Yeah. Of course, Pike Liberal Arts, Mike, gets to start probably one of the early starts of the whole football season.
Who's the voice of the Pike Liberal Arts Patriots? Who does those games?
There's a group of guys that do a good job with that, and I don't know exactly the ones that are doing it, but the guy, John Ramage, is sort of spearheads everything and does a great job. And,
I wonder how he can do that and try to be in Tuscaloosa every Saturday.
Well, I think he does the public address, and does a great job with the public address and out at Pike. I tell you what,
they used to have a band program.
They do. They still do. And in fact, the guy you were talking about yesterday,
the Ford.
Yeah, Miss Ford is the band director and does a great job out there. No question about it.
I tell you, Pike Live's one of the biggest private schools in the state now. It's pretty amazing.
It really is, and doing very well, no question about it.
What about Troy? Will they scrimmage Saturday?
Yeah, they will scrimmage Saturday, and of course Saturday's a big day for Troy. They've got their scrimmage that morning, and then they've got Meet the Trojans from 1 to 3 on Saturday afternoon at the Trojan Arena. It'll be indoors, air conditioning, and they'll have all kinds of giveaways and food, provide food for all Trojans to come and meet the Trojans. Not only the football team, Mike, but the volleyball and soccer and golf and cheerleaders, and you'll get to meet a lot of young athletes that represent Troy. It's a great time to bring the kids out and have a good time. They'll have free hot dogs and other goodies, and then of course coming up later on that evening at the Trojan Arena is the what I always call Troy University football night, and that's where they give away the $10,000 and have a big party and a lot of fun, where all Trojans gather before the sort of the kickoff every year for the football season, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is a big weekend for Troy, and of course,
when do classes start?
They start today. Classes start at Troy today, and hey, man, Mike, the traffic is out there. All the eating establishments are packed. it's a great time to be a Trojan, I promise you.
So how many kids do you think will miss class this morning at 8 o'clock?
I don't know. But, you know, those freshmen who got in here Saturday night, a lot of them did, have had 3 or 4 days. I'm sure they've had a big time trying to find something to do. And I'm sure that they're waiting, you know, ready to get started.
I'll tell you what, I was not very smart in college, but I was smart enough to go to class and make sure the teacher knew who I was.
Well, that is something that they have stressed more than anything. I hear it all the time. You're exactly right. Go to class and meet your professor and let him know who you are, and go to class, and you've got a chance to graduate. Don't you agree?
I totally agree. I think it's very important to let the teacher know who you are, and you know, ask questions.
And then say,
he might feel sorry for you at the end of it.
I'm gonna tell you what, sir. You wear some of the nicest ties. I wish I had a tie like that. A little brag here and there, brag here and there, you know.
Yeah, I'll never forget, like some mornings I'd leave Auburn, I'd be up there, and I'd come back for an 8 o'clock class. I mean, going to class is really the most important thing today.
Yeah, no question about it.
Want to try to get through college.
And another thing, your mom and your daddy paid big money for you to go to school. I think somebody told me.
I had a scholarship.
Somebody told me a school year at Troy, room and board, was about $16,000. That's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
That's not too bad.
I mean, that is pretty reasonable. You know, if you can send a kid to college for $16,000, you know, a year, a semester, a couple of semesters. I don't know the exact figures, but I want to say that's one of them. Of course, the Alabama Independent.
I've never heard of this before. Troy University is advertising tryouts for Troy softball.
Oh yeah, isn't that something?
They do that?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, and it's a good thing to do, you know. There's some athletes walking the halls, I promise you, that are not playing for any teams, you know.
Must be currently enrolled in classes at Troy University.
Well, you know, I'm glad to hear that. And, Mike, now let me tell you a little story here. And for all you folks out there, of course, today is the free messenger. You get your messenger free on Wednesdays. And, Mike, I was looking through, like, as I always do every morning, on the headlines of what's going on. And Mike, the young basketball player at Charles Henderson High School, has won a gold medal. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first gold medal ever given to a local player of any sport. And
are you talking about the Davenport girl?
Yeah,
playing in some junior Olympics?
The Davenport girl played on the United States team that won the gold medal this summer, and so that is quite a feat, don't you think?
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody from Troy being able to do that.
And of course, she's an outstanding.
It's her senior year, isn't it?
Yeah, in high school, yeah, finally her senior year, and she is really quite a.
Well, that'll be a lot of fun going to high school games this year in Washington. There'll probably be coaches from all over the country.
Oh, you're right. Let me tell you this. You know what they ought to do? They ought to.
Your favorite coach is Gino Auriemma.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. Like in Tennessee, Mike, you know how in Alabama.
I showed Pat Summit to her seat one day when she was down recruiting the kid out of Eufaula.
Yeah.
Back when I worked in the athletic department.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, that in Tennessee, Mike, girls basketball is so big, the girls play last instead of playing before the boys. The girls in a lot of the schools in Tennessee play last because it's a more popular sport. Girls
I've heard that over the years.
Yeah. And but I tell you what, with this young lady, people will have to get to the gym early for a 6 o'clock game.
Is there any chance she might want to play with the varsity boys this year?
I don't know. She could do it. Cause let me tell you what she does so well is block shots. She jumps real well, and she blocks shots real well.
I wonder if she plays volleyball, too.
No, I don't think she plays volleyball. But she played AAU basketball, and then she was named to the junior Olympic team. And I need to really find out more things about her. But I tell you, she's making a mark, no question about it. I want to mention a few other things. Coach Neil Brown has high hopes for the 2018 season, and I think he is right now, depending on how well his quarterbacks play. This Troy team, Mike, to me, is loaded. It is loaded.
Well, you got big questions at running back, I think.
Well, I don't know. You know, if Henderson can come through like they expect him to, and the young man from Stanhope Elmore, they think he's had a great preseason and is improved.
DJ Smith and then Fries coming off shoulder surgery.
You see, those are two solid running backs right there. And, you know, of course, injuries, you can't have them, you know. If you know. But a good article also on Randy Bryant's team, Zion Chapel. They're getting ready for the.
They won 2 games last year, but I expect they'll be a little bit better this year.
Well, that's more than they have lately, and of course, he's got a good program. He's got 45 players in camp, and he's got it going pretty good, no question about it. Of course, the quarterback battle at Troy is between Caleb Barker and Sawyer Smith, and of course, both of them are very good young quarterbacks, and it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Brown works them. I could really see in this situation, Mike, a possibility of playing 2 quarterbacks. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you'll see both. I mean, I think, you know, whoever's the starter, you'll probably see the guy come in the third series, depending on what the score is.
No question about it. And it was real interesting to me to watch them practice. One day you'll have Barker be the first quarterback that comes out, and then sometimes Smith will. So they're working them a lot alike, so that they'll be able to work with the first unit and get the timing down and get ready. Mike, this is a steal here. Piggly Wiggly in Troy has T-bone steaks, $5.99 a pound. That is a great deal on T-bone steaks. They've got drumsticks or thighs for 78 cents a pound. They've got sirloin pork chops in their meat department for 88 cents a pound. They got ground beef, $1.98 a pound. They've got center cut pork chops. Those are the kind you love to grill, $1.48 a pound. Ziegler's sliced bologna, and a good friend of mine is the chairman of the board of Ziegler's, Rusty Gibson, my good friend who's an attorney in Tuscaloosa.
I need to get some bacon because they got the best bacon out there.
Well, and let me tell you, he married a young lady whose father owned Ziegler's, and now she is chairman of the board of Ziegler's packing company in Tuscaloosa.
Is that where Ziegler's located in Tuscaloosa?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
That's right. Ziegler's 2 for $3 on wieners, and you know, with tailgating.
They have Ziegler hot dogs at Alabama games for stadium dogs.
Oh yeah, and Gwaltney's.
How many stadium dogs have you eaten before? I think I had about 3 or 4. You remember when we used to go to the Coliseum Club in Coleman Coliseum?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Gwaltney sliced bacon. Now, anytime you can buy bacon 2 for $5, grab a hold of as many as you can get. And they've got 2 for $5 today. They've got this Johnsonville smoked brats, and that's sausage, 2 for $5. And they got Gwaltney fresh rolled sausage, just $5. Listen to this, 5 packs for $5. Isn't that something? So they got a lot of sales going on at Piggly Wiggly, located on North 39th Street, and also the on the bypass. And we appreciate them being a part of our show. Of course, again, I want to mention our friends at Melissa Parrish and the good folks at Country Financial. This is a nationwide company that's located on the square in downtown Troy. And of course, if you had your homeowners had compared your homeowners insurance or your car insurance or your commercial insurance, call her today and she'll give you a quote, and I promise you she'll save you money on your insurance.
On the 25th, that's when college football starts. You'll have 2 games on the 25th. Wyoming against New Mexico State. Of course, New Mexico State went to a bowl game last year. And then you'll have Hawaii against Colorado State. But, Mike Bobo's Colorado State coach had to step away because he's got numbness in his feet. So they don't really know what's causing it. So I don't even know if he'll be able to coach.
Coach Bobo does?
This year.
Coach Bobo's got that problem?
Yeah.
Man.
So he's having to see. But, that's the 25th. I mean, that's just, a few days away before college football starts.
Yeah. Auburn's talking about another running back. His name is Daniel Thomas, Mike. Are you familiar with him?
No, I'm not.
He's Thomas is a 3-star recruit coming out of Robert E. Lee High School. I've never really heard of him, but they say he's doing very well at Auburn. He's 5'11", 208 pounds, and he's one of the guys in the picture at running back at Auburn.
I'll tell you what, Robert E. Lee's had a lot more athletes come through there. And of course, Riggs, Ruggs at Alabama, and then his brother signed with Ole Miss. He played at Robert E. Lee, and then a couple other guys from Robert E. Lee have gone to SEC schools.
Yeah, no question about it. And of course,
Robert E. Lee was the school back in the day.
Autauga Academy is going to play Bessemer Academy, Mike. They're going to play at Birmingham Southern's football field. On the campus of Birmingham Southern Thursday night. That'll be the first high school game of the year that I know about, and I'm sure there'll be some more Thursday night games. But then, of course, Pike Liberal and Morgan get after it on Friday night, and then there's some Saturday night games. One of them is Monroe Academy versus Glenwood, and that game's been played at Huntington College, Mike. So. A lot of the Alabama independent schools getting underway this week, so that ought to be fun, Mike. It should be fun.
Yeah, Bessemer Academy's been good for many years. Of course, a lot of kids in Birmingham will transfer out. They'll get kids from Mountain Brook and Homewood and Spain Park and Hoover to go play at the private school over there.
No question about it. I also wanted to mention a young man, Mike, that is probably the fourth guy on the quarterback rotation at Troy, and he is from the school there in Tuscaloosa. What is it? Christian. What's the high school there in Tuscaloosa?
American Christian Academy.
American Christian, yeah. He's a quarterback, and he's a redshirt sophomore. And he comes from a pretty good program, and he's working now at number 4 quarterback. And of course, the number 3 quarterback is Gunnar Watson, is the young man who is coming in here from whereabouts in Georgia. Do you know, Mike?
I'm not sure what town in Georgia.
But he's quite a young quarterback, and they really like him, and I'm sure they'd love to redshirt him, but you never can tell, If somebody gets hurt, you might have to bring your guys in early. What do you think?
Yeah, that could be the case.
We're waiting on Max Howell to call in. He should be calling in just a moment. And Mike, I want you to know that Troy's new stadium club is really going to be something special. And I asked him about the scoreboard and were we going to actually see instant replays. You know, to me, a scoreboard is made for instant replay. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I always lay that at Alabama games.
You know, what I'm saying, instead of a bunch of advertisement and all that, after a play, I'd like to see the play again. But, you know, one of the problems that they face that is something that we don't think about is it's hard to do it because of the fast-paced offenses, you know, that run back and get set to run another play. They don't have time to run the instant replay.
Well, it's one of those things where, Troy has 2 scoreboards now, which is really nice. Hopefully they'll do that. I'm sure they'll crank up a bunch of music just like Alabama does.
Exactly. Let me give you the football coaching staff at Troy. Neil Brown, of course, is the head coach, and and then Matt Moore, and I got to see Matt yesterday. He is the offensive line coach and also offensive coordinator. But like he says, the guy over there, he pointed to Coach Brown. He calls all the plays. But Coach Moore is an outstanding coach. He went played college at Valdosta State. I reckon on the Mummy. Was he there in the Mummy, Mike?
Who was?
Was he at Valdosta on the Mummy?
Played for Mummy.
And of course, the tight ends coach is Brian Blackman, and he played. He went to school here at Troy, but he comes to Troy after serving several years as the head football coach at Opelika. And then Sean Dawkins, running backs coach, went to school here at Troy. Outside linebackers coach Brandon Hall actually played his college football at Oklahoma. Defensive coordinator Vic Koenig played his college football at Kansas State, and of course one of the top defensive coordinators in the country. Defensive line coach Jordan Leslie, he played right here at Troy. Linebackers coach Bam Harmon, Mike, was a great player at Florida. Do you remember that?
That's right.
And Al Poe, who went to Alabama State, is the cornerbacks coach and the recruiting coordinator. The quarterbacks coach and co-offensive coordinator Sean Reagan went to North Georgia to school, and Cornelius Williams, the receivers coach, went to Troy, and of course he also played high school ball at Hoover. The strength coach, Raphael Horton, went to Fort Valley State. The director of operations, Mark Perry, went to Kentucky. Director of player personnel, Brian Bennett, went to Louisville. Director of player development, Jamal Smooth, went to Troy. And assistant director of operations, Patrick Johnson. That is your staff, your football staff at Troy. And I think it's one of the fine young coaching staffs in the country, Mike, wouldn't you say?
Well, a lot of people think this could be their last year at Troy, so that tells you they're doing a pretty good job. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of the year. We think Troy will at worst go 8-4. So, you think now that Troy could go, maybe 14-0.
I'm saying if they beat, if they can beat Boise, and then 2 weeks later,
I don't see it happening. We'll get, starting a new quarterbacks for the first time.
I'm gonna tell you what.
If Troy had more experience at quarterback and running back, I would feel better about it.
All right, let me tell you what I see. I see them being very experienced because they've had so many snaps since they've been at Troy on the practice field. I know game type.
One thing about Boise though, they're physical. Troy will have to really out physical Boise. Boise just manhandled Troy last year in the trenches.
Yeah, they are good.
Worst offensive performance probably in Neil Brown's history as a coach.
Yeah.
I mean, they had 130 yards of offense.
Yeah, you're right. And it was not a good.
These guys are big and strong, and they'll come in there and they think they're better than Troy. So it's gonna be hard to get to that level. There's a reason that Troy's a 10-point underdog at home. So
well, let me tell you this.
I I actually, this is crazy to say, I think Troy's got a better chance to beat Nebraska than they do Boise.
All right. Well, you might be right. You might be right. Now, you know, I've been in this business a long time. I've been a Troy fan a long time.
See, that's the thing.
I've been around it a long time, and I have feelings about it. And this Troy team is not only a very confident team, they're solid at every position on the field, and I mean also solid at quarterback with these two young quarterbacks. These are two young kids that can throw the football. These are two young kids that can make something happen if something breaks down. They're a threat to run the football, both of them, and actually score at anywhere on the field, especially with Barker's speed. I just feel confident about this team and how solid they are all the way across. If the only place that I have any question at all about is the linebackers, but nowadays most of the time you play 5 defensive backs.
The biggest thing is Ripken, or Rippon. Of course, his dad played, in the NFL for years, Martin Rippon, and this guy can really throw the ball, and if he has time, Troy's got to make sure that they put pressure on him. And I really think this crowd could be a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
It should be the loudest crowd ever in Troy.
And I'll tell you something else I believe. I believe that the heat is going to have a factor.
Oh, yeah, but we told you last year it was 96 degrees when they played in Boise.
I know it, but the humidity is quite a bit of difference. They haven't seen heat like this, Mike. I mean, hey, they don't sweat out there like we sweat here.
Well, Harsin's got Troy's number. He's beaten Troy at Arkansas State, and he's beaten Troy at Boise. He's never lost to Troy, so maybe that'll come.
I'll tell you what, he's one of the great and the classiest coaches in America. He is a class act. I've seen him interviewed several times, and he is a class operator, but he is scared to death to come to Troy, I promise you.
Well, that's going to be on every single locker later today.
He is scared to death to come to Troy, Alabama, because, hey, he knows what has happened on this field. He knows what has happened to some good football teams on this field. Hey, they beat Missouri. They killed, I'm telling you, they killed Oklahoma State. They could have scored 60 points on Oklahoma State when they came in here. Troy football in this stadium is hard to beat. And the old saying, don't play Troy in, there used to be the saying, don't play Troy in Troy on a Thursday night. I'm going to go ahead and add a little to it. Don't play Troy on in 100-degree temperatures on a Saturday at 5 o'clock. I really believe that.
Well, we'll wait and see.
I really believe that. This is going to be a Troy team that's going to be confident when they hit the field. And they're going to have hard time blocking Trevon Sanders, 6'2", 327 out of Charleston, South Carolina. They're going to have a tough time stopping the great running back, Jamaris Henderson, out of Daleville, Alabama, Dale County, Midland City, Alabama. There's going to be these country boys from Troy can't wait to get these Broncos in the stadium. And let me tell you, it might not even be close.
Oh, my God.
I really believe it. I believe this Troy team is going to be good. I've been around them so much that I just can feel their confidence. This is the fastest Troy team, Mike, maybe ever. This is a fast Troy team. And, hey, Mike, that can create havoc.
Well, let's read about Boise State. Have you ever gotten Phil Steele yet?
No, I haven't gotten Phil Steele.
Once you go to the grocery store and get him.
But Phil Steele had him 14th. I think he had him ranked 14th, didn't he?
Yeah, let's read about Boise State real quick. Let's see. Boise State, you want to see how many returning starters they have?
Yeah. Which that doesn't really matter,
Well, I mean, the biggest thing, though, is, I mean, they're the most dominant non-power 5 program ever.
Yeah. Nobody wants to play Boise on the blue field now. If it was on the blue field, I'd have to give them a little edge. But, hey, we're playing at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Troy, Alabama, and it's 100 degrees on that playing surface.
Okay, their first player is from California. The second guy's from Texas. Third guy's from Florida. Next guy's from California. Next guy's from Washington. One guy's from Idaho. Next guy's from California. Next guy's from Texas. Next guy's from California. Next guy's from California. Next guy's from California. Texas, California, Arizona.
Do I supposed to shudder because they're from California? I'd rather have this. This guy's from Georgia. This guy's from Florida. This guy's from Georgia. This guy's from Georgia. This guy's from Georgia. I'd rather have the guys from Georgia than the guys from California.
I mean, they probably have at least 40 guys from California on their team.
Well, hey, you know what? I'll tell you a little bit about California football. They don't have spring training. They don't even, high schools don't even have spring training.
And then they got several guys from Hawaii.
Yeah. And and I'll take a Georgia or Alabama or Florida kid over a guy from Hawaii any day of the week.
That's pretty amazing. They have literally probably 10 guys on their whole roster from Idaho.
Yeah. How about these names? Millbrook, Alabama, Tallahassee, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Decatur, Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama, Spanish Fort, Alabama, Scottsboro, Opelika, Enterprise, Huntsville, Opelika, Canton, Georgia, Madison, Alabama, Pensacola, Lawrenceville, Georgia, New Hope, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Athens, Alabama. Listen, I'll take these Alabama boys any days of the week over a bunch of folks from Hawaii.
Well, I just know that, you know, these guys are talented guys, and we'll see what happens the first game. You know, I mean, I can't see Troy winning, but I can see it being a close game.
I can see them winning the football game, no question. Real good article on Will Sunderland today. He is a young man that has come into Troy and has really helped the kicking game out. And I was telling the story yesterday.
He's a kid from Oklahoma?
Yeah. And he is a young man that's come in here that is going to help Troy, no question about it. But I want to mention also Sandarius Rookard, Mike. 6'1", 205 from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'll put him up against anybody Boise's got.
Yeah, he is good.
He is and you know, and DeAndre Douglas, you know, the wide receiver. Boy, what a great player he's been at Troy. You just go down the list, and most all of these guys are guys like Zoe Bridges, playing the Bandit out of he's quite a player, and of course he's out of Opelika, and you know, it goes on and on. A lot of these good players out of let's just say this, out of Georgia, out of Alabama, and out of Florida, and the junior colleges of Mississippi. I think Troy gets players from as good a recruiting ground as you'll find anywhere.
Of course, just some history about Boise State. They're second all-time in winning percentage with 727. They're 439 and 164 all-time, and they ain't been playing football that long.
Yeah.
19 conference championships, 18 bowl games. This is a program that's only been Division I since the 90s.
All right, let me ask you this. Now, point blank, I'm going to ask you this. Who's the fastest football team, Boise or Troy?
I don't know. I saw Boise had some guys running away from Troy last year.
I know it, but who's the fastest overall, Troy or Boise?
Fastest, but I would say Boise would probably be the more physical of the two.
They might be more physical, but speed kills, Mike, and we've got speed. Let me tell you what they're going to be doing, and hopefully they don't kick off a lot to us anyway. But they're going to be signaling for they're going to be wanting us to signal for a fair catch on the kickoff. You know, that new rule coming in, Troy's got one of the best kick returners in the country, and that's the young man from Enterprise, Marcus Jones. And there's a new rule out that if you fair catch it inside the 20-yard line, you get the ball at the 25.
Yeah, that's true.
So, of course, I'm sure everybody wants to kick the ball in the end zone and make them take it out on the 20 or tackle them inside the 20. But it's going to change.
I just think, this is the most important stat everybody needs to hear today. This is Boise's record since 2002. Which is just, incredible as far as top 25 teams. In 2002, they went 12-1. 2003, 13-1. 2004, 11-1. 2006, 13-0. 2008, 12-1. 2009, 14-0. 2010, 12-1. 2011, 12-1. 2012, 11-2. 2014, 12-2. Last year, they went 11-3.
Yeah.
This is who Troy's playing.
I tell you what I'd like to do, if I can get over here and find out who they actually played last year. And I'm going to just, let's see, I've got to find it, though. I don't know if I can find it in this media guide. I'm looking at a media guide, and I want to look at who Boise played last year. All right, here we go. And tell me, could Troy beat these teams? All right, they beat Troy. They played at Washington State. I think Troy could beat Washington State. New Mexico, Troy could definitely beat them. Virginia, they could beat Virginia. BYU, they could beat BYU. San Diego State, Wyoming, Utah State, Nevada.
San Diego State was real good last year.
Nevada, Colorado State, Air Force, Fresno State, and Oregon. I don't know if they could beat Oregon, but they could beat most all these teams that Boise plays. In fact, Troy would probably be the favorite in most of these games that they played. Now this year, Boise plays UConn, Oklahoma State, Wyoming, San Diego State, Nevada, Colorado State, Air Force, BYU, Fresno, New Mexico, Utah State. Troy could beat every one of those teams, Mike.
I don't know if they beat Oklahoma State.
Well, I don't know. Last time we played them, we beat them pretty good, didn't we?
Yeah.
But let me just say this. Troy,
the game's played.
I would let me tell you this. I think I might rather play their schedule than our schedule. The only real team.
There's no doubt the Sun Belt and Mountain West are pretty equal.
The only real good team.
Definitely wouldn't have to play Air Force every year. I think Air Force would be real tough.
Oh, but they'd slam them to the ground. Troy's speed would eat them up. BYU.
Get ready for that
the only ones that I think would stand a chance against Troy is Oklahoma State and possibly BYU at BYU. Troy would win the rest of those games.
Oregon would be tough.
Oregon, yeah, but that was I'm talking about their schedule this year.
Okay.
All right, look here. Utah State, New Mexico, Fresno, BYU, Air Force, Colorado State, Nevada, San Diego State, Wyoming, Oklahoma State, UConn. Troy could beat every one of those teams.
Yeah, Colorado State's pretty good.
The only one that would give them any kind of battle would be Oklahoma State. Troy would win the rest of them. Or BYU at BYU might be tough, but because they're real physical. But no, Troy would outscore them. Troy would outscore BYU. Mike, there's not but one team on that schedule that I think would have a chance to beat Troy would be Oklahoma State. That's your boys' schedule. Now, anybody that would love to argue that, I would love to argue that.
What are you going to do if Troy loses to Boise, then they beat Florida A&M, and then they lose to Nebraska? They're 1-2.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I really believe they're going to beat both of them. The tough one is to go to Nebraska and play them at 11 o'clock in the morning, and beat them. That in that surrounding. Of course, they've sold the stadium out over 300 times in a row, something like that. It'll be a huge crowd.
Been a record for a long time.
But it's not a vicious crowd. It's a
holds about 86,000.
Yeah. But let me just say this again: speed kills. Speed kills in football.
But you got to have experience at quarterback. I don't think you're factoring in that.
I know it, Mike. Listen, they've had so many snaps. They've had thousands of snaps already this preseason. It doesn't really matter. They've been Barker, who will probably be the starter. He's played in several games, and he's not afraid one bit. I interviewed both of these guys on Troy Cable, and you'll watch if you'll watch and look for that on our air on Channel 2, where we had the media day, and I interviewed both the quarterbacks, and both of them seem to be very confident. And these I really believe the way Coach Brown coaches, Mike, that he everything enters into what you said, experience and all that. I think he puts them in a lot of situations. I think they're well coached, and I think Troy won't miss a beat. In fact, they might be even more explosive on offense with a seasoned offensive line, some solid young running backs, and then these quarterbacks that can make something happen. I mean, this guy, Barker, it reminds me of Johnny Manziel. Would you like to have Johnny Manziel on your team?
Well, I think I like the college version. You kind of have some off-the-field issues after that.
Yeah, I know it. But would you like to have a guy that could make things happen like Johnny Manziel?
I had eyes in the back of his head.
I believe Barker's a lot like him and probably faster than Johnny Manziel.
Well, I think he's definitely bigger if he's like 6'1", 207. I think
that's right.
Like
that's right.
190 pounds.
And Smith is in the same mold. They're very similar, and Smith weighs 225.
I thought he was a big guy, like 6'3", like more like a Silvers type.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy and that can run, and I think it's going to be. I know people say, Mike, you're out. You got a loose screw. Well, no, I don't. We play Boise at home. Boise hadn't played in many arenas like this is going to be, Mike. It's going to be a wild arena that Boise's coming into. I think, like you said, Boise might be physical, but will they be able to do the things that Troy's going to be able to do?
Yeah. We'll see in a few weeks.
And I just think, I'll go ahead and say it.
Hey,
this Troy team could go 14-0.
Let me get these girls ready.
All right, okay. This Troy team could go 14-0. We'll be back right after this.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance. We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar per dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance. Whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies, Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by our good friends at Hook's Barbecue today. And boy, what a great place there is to eat at Hook's. Tailgating. The easiest tailgate out there is to go to Hook's Barbecue, get your chopped pork in a container, get your baked beans in a container, get your potato salad or rice in a separate container, and your buns, and you're ready to have a barbecue you won't believe before every Troy football game. Nobody does it better than Hook's when it comes to catering or providing barbecue for you at your tailgate, and the quality is next to none. Of course, throw in some slaw if you want to. It is just strictly a wonderful, wonderful place. And hey, tell them to add one of those wonderful pound cakes to go with it, or some camp stew to go with it. It's the easiest tailgate you'll find, and that's through Hook's Barbecue this football season. Of course, headlines say that Urban Meyer's investigation is costing Ohio State $500,000, and they don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, but it is very interesting. And of course, the problem is he held back some information that he knew about one of his coaches that was beating his wife or abusing his wife, and that was and the suit that they've got against the university is that the university knew what was going on and didn't say anything. But that's the deal. This young man here has come to the Troy camp. His name is Dylan Bradshaw, and he is one of the more outstanding young players. And the coaches said this past weekend that he's one of the most improved players on the field. He's a backup center to Cromradi, who is an All-American, and he is an outstanding young player out of Enterprise. We'll take him all day long from Enterprise, and he's going to be a great one before he leaves here. But a good article by the Dothan Eagle today. Charles Henderson gets the spotlight in the Dothan paper today. Charles Henderson has better experience, more depth, and greater expectations to improve on last year's 6-5 campaign. Brad McCoy, going into his 5th season as coach of the Trojans, is excited about the growth of his program. He likes his overall team speed, and thank you so much, Steve. Of course, Trojans returned 10 starters on offense, several of whom were pressed into action last season because of injury. But good article here on Charles Henderson High School in the Dothan Eagle. And, I thumb through here and read as much as I can and deliver as much information as I possibly can out there to you. And, of course, they've been practicing hard against each other, and now they are ready to go against somebody else. And, of course, they'll play Pike County in their annual Jamboree coming up on not this Friday, but Friday week from Bulldog Stadium in Brundage. Offensively, Coach McCoy is expecting big things out of center Zach Jones, who is coming off of a broken fibula, and Will Reeves, the big left tackle, 6'4", 305 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the mayor's son, Will Reeves, 6'4", 305, is a senior at left tackle who is a Division I-A prospect. Sam Knotts, a junior, is a returning starter at the guard position, as is Aiden C., Ryan Barnes, and Xavier Caffey. These guys went 8-0 as 8th graders. Of course, they're young players, but they're good players. And the quarterback is senior DQ Tony. I don't know what DQ means, but I've always known him as DQ Tony, who started at quarterback as a sophomore and played there last year, but is also known as an outstanding running wide receiver. So this is a kid that can run. He's a competitor and should give Charles Henderson quite a quarterback. And, of course, they lost their outstanding running back, Jared Wilson, to South Alabama. And Jonathan Carter, Jr., is the leading contender to start there, along with Chance Pollard, who is also an outstanding young player. Linebacker Javontrez Allen will also be in the running back picture. Let's go to our phones. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, I'm back.
Mike Amos is back, and I'm going over Charles Henderson's lineup, Mike, and they've got a young man that's moved in from Georgia. His name's Jacorian Boykins, 6'3", 180, is a potential starter at wide receiver, and that'll give Tony, who is such a good receiver, a very good target from quarterback. And, of course, Pollard is also in that rotation, too, at receiver. Of course, Charles Henderson hoping that they can put together a good football team, and I think they will. Cole Coppage and Rob Anderson give them depth and experience at defensive end. And another transfer, Camden Koning, Mike, a transfer from Pike Liberal Arts, is projected to start at the Mike linebacker. Of course, Koning is
Vic Koning's son.
Yes, son, and is a smart kid, and they think they'll be able to help him right away. But McCoy's now in his 5th year. He's 26 and 19 at Charles Henderson, and it's his 10th year as a head coach. His record is a very good 60 and 38. So, of course, last year's team was 4-2 in the region, and they lost in the first game of the playoffs against Central of Clay in the playoffs. But this Charles Henderson team has to open up against Enterprise, and then they go to Rehoboth. Then they come back on September the 14th to play a very well-respected 6A team, Mike, in Oxford. On the 21st, they got Beauregard, another great 5A team. Then they got the week off, and then they go to Greenville. Then they come back and play Carroll of Ozark at home. And then they go to Tallahassee.
If they get 5-5, Charles Henderson fans ought to be jumping up and down.
Yeah. Then they go to Tallahassee, and then they got Valley back here in Troy. And then they play Baldwin County in Troy, the last game of the year. I've got them with just 9 games. They're just playing 9 regular season games, but they'll play Pike County in the Jamboree, and it's very similar to a regular season game. So
I tell you what, I can't remember a Charles Henderson team ever playing a schedule like this.
Yeah, I know it. It is awfully tough.
You're playing Oxford and Enterprise.
Oh yeah, and Beauregard. Beauregard's pretty tough too. In fact, there's not a weak link on this whole schedule. I mean, used to you could play Tuskegee or Bullock County or somebody like that, but they don't have those kind of teams on the schedule anymore. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a very tough schedule. And last year, if you look at it, they lost 27-22 to UMS Wright, which is everybody knows that.
They won the 4A state championship.
All right, they should have beat Carroll, and they lost 10-3 to Carroll on that play where they tried to block the kick, and he jumped over the guy, and they called it on him. And then at Greenville, they beat Greenville at Greenville 27-24. They beat Booker T. Washington 42-0 last year. Stanhope Elmore, they lost 20-14 in a close one. Then they just blew out Trinity 51-26. They lost to Eufaula in a tough one, 23-20. They beat Rehoboth 28-9. They beat Headland 45-12. And then they beat Northview 14-7 and lost to Central Clay, lost badly to them, 42-14 in the playoffs. But every game they lost was close.
Jim Jackson had a big smile on his face that night.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He's a Troy guy now.
His alma mater.
Yeah, I know it. But what we're saying, though, here is they were just a play or two away from having a real good year last year.
Yeah, I was listening to Neil the other day. He said they had a lot of personal foul penalties and a lot of issues like that last year. They need to clean up. That's got to be discipline with these kids. They got to make sure they don't make stupid penalties and stupid mistakes. That can kill you in games.
No question about it. And of course, we'll see you at.
How many Charles Nicholson games are you going to try to do this year? You going to do
I'm going to try to do as many of the home games. I'll miss the game, which I think is going to be a big game with Oxford. I'm going to miss that one because I'm going to be at Nebraska. I'm going to see the Nebraska-Troy game. So I'm excited about eating those hot dogs. You remember those hot dogs that they serve outside the stadium? I can't wait to eat one of those.
Yeah, Nebraska is a really great place to go to a game. I would encourage anybody to try to make that trip if they can.
Yeah. I was looking at Nebraska's schedule now. This is a whole different ball game. Of course, they play Akron to open the season, but then they've got Colorado, Troy, Michigan.
That'll be something I'd like to follow is how they play Akron in that first game. Akron plays them tough. Akron, Troy barely beat Akron last year.
Well, Akron can score because Terry Bowden knows how to score. But then they've got Colorado. Nebraska got Akron, then Colorado, which is a pretty tough second game. And then Troy pinched in between Michigan and Colorado. So Akron, Colorado, Troy, Michigan, Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, Ohio State, Illinois, Michigan State, and Iowa. Now, that's a pretty tough schedule right there now. Hey, compared to Boise' schedule is a piece of cake compared to Nebraska's.
Makes you think that games like Troy that will be must-win for Nebraska.
In Nebraska's last year, they opened up against Troy rival Arkansas State, and they beat Arkansas State 43-36. And then the next week, they lost 42-35 to Oregon. They lost 21-17 to Northern Illinois. They beat Rutgers. They beat Illinois. They lost to Wisconsin, lost to Purdue.
I'll tell you what, how many big-time programs has Northern Illinois beat in their lives?
I know it. They lost to Wisconsin. They lost to Ohio State. They beat Purdue. They lost to Northwestern. They lost to Minnesota. They lost to Penn State, and they lost to Iowa. So they didn't have a very good year last year. Of course, new coach. But you know something, Mike, that I like to say this to anybody in college football: the coach can't play. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Sometimes we put so much emphasis on the coach, but he can't play. He can't play quarterback. He can't play wide receiver. He's a legend, but he can't play. It's a shame.
Interesting.
It's a shame that this guy from Nebraska can't play.
A lot of guys never do what he did last year. He coached after he had taken the Nebraska job. He still stayed and coached in Florida.
And beat Auburn.
Of course, upset Auburn and shoot, pretty much whipped Auburn. They were up by a couple touchdowns most of that game, and of course, beat Auburn in in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, and then of course they claimed a national championship at Central Florida.
Yeah. I was looking at.
Have you seen the Troy Conference Championship rings? Do those look good? I've never seen one.
No, I haven't seen them yet. But now you're supposed to get a replica of the ring.
They've got their championship rings because he gave them out a few weeks ago.
I know this. I saw Pike Liberal Arts' baseball ring, and I've never seen a more gaudy ring in my life. It was huge. I mean, twice the size of my ring that I've got on right here.
One of those where they'll be picking their nose. So
they're picking their nose all the time. You're right. No question about it. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance. We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar per dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and of course we appreciate you watching our show, and of course you folks watching on Facebook this morning. Good morning. We're from Troy, Alabama. The show is called Today in LA. That's Lower Alabama, and we hope that you enjoy watching.
How many years has the show been on there now? Like 21?
We started, we started doing sports, and doing football games and covering games and interviewing players and being real involved in athletics all the way back to the mid-'80s, Mike, around 84.
Yeah, but I was thinking about your talk show.
But my talk show started around 98. I had a talk show in 1998. I've had one ever since, right here on Troy Cable.
So you're celebrating 20 years.
20 years on the air, and of course I've had these bright lights in my face, Mike. You reckon it's baking my brain?
I don't know, maybe.
But you're my hey. Listen, if I didn't have you, I probably couldn't do my show because you know what I'm fixing to say.
How about I've heard a few stories every now.
How about Sister's Restaurant, Mike? Make them hungry. Make them hungry.
Well, I mean, Sisters will have, you can order off the menu today, so they'll probably have, I would imagine.
No, you can't. You got a buffet today, Mike.
They'll have the chicken fingers and country fried steak or hamburger steak probably, and then they'll have, fresh vegetables, squash casserole probably.
Yeah.
I would
spaghetti. I think they have spaghetti on Wednesday, too.
I thought they do buffets Wednesday.
No, it is a buffet, but they have spaghetti on the buffet.
Yeah.
And fresh vegetables.
Buffets now Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and now Sunday.
That's right. And, of course, at night on Thursday and Friday nights. So it is delicious, and we appreciate them so much. Want to mention Gene's Flowers and Martha Lynn and all the great folks. Gene Flowers, and, of course, they mail you anything from across the country to across the world at Gene's Flowers. Of course, Piggly Wiggly, Steve and Garrett and all the great folks there. And, of course, our good friends at Dowling Rental, located in Enterprise, Alabama. Want to mention also our very good friends at Dixieland Dental, located 9 miles north of Dothan on Highway 231. Dr. Michael Precise, Dr. John Strength, Dr. Damon Strength, and Dr. Robert Precise make up one of the largest dental clinics in Alabama. How about Dorsey, Mike? Have you ever eaten at the famous pastry shop in downtown Troy? Got the best cinnamon rolls you'll ever eat.
I have not been there. I showed my wife that the other night, actually, when I was downtown.
Exactly right. Of course, Mike, I was...
What about baseball? Are they done coaching baseball, the Precises? I know they have the water.
Oh, well, yeah, they went all the way to the World Series. Both of them did. And Coach Precise, Dr. Michael Precise, he coached I want to say it was a 17 and under group that went a long ways. I tell you, they really are outstanding people, not only great dentists, but they are very active in baseball, working with baseball players all
I tell you
across
what,
the
I was down
Wiregrass.
at the beach yesterday, and obviously a lot of schools from out in the southeast do not start when Alabama does, because there are so many kids and high school kids in Green Beach and in Seaside and in the Alice Beach and Rosemary Beach still riding around on bicycles with their parents, and it was like the summer had not even come close to ending down there.
And I'll tell you something that's getting to be big is homeschooling.
Yeah.
That's getting to be a big thing. Especially with the rule.
You know, in Birmingham, they have homeschooling now where you can actually play, sports.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Where you live, yeah.
You're right, exactly right. And that's a new rule that a homeschooler
So if you lived in Vestavia or Mountain Brook and you were homeschooled, you could play varsity athletics at Mountain Brook or Vestavia athletic programs.
No question about it. And, of course, we're all excited, and let me tell you this. I've said some big words, and I've said 14-0. And, of course, you got to have a little luck involved there. You got to have some,
I'll
some big things happen.
I guarantee you if Troy goes 14-0, 13-0 will be Neil Brown, and Neil Brown will be gone to another school before he coaches that bowl game. I'll go ahead and tell you that he will not coach that bowl game.
Well, you know, when Chan Gailey won a national championship, we lost him. When Rick Rhodes won a national championship, we lost him. When Billy Atkins Billy Atkins stayed 3 or 4 more years after winning. And they're going to honor that 68 team on the second game of the season, Mike, against Florida A&M. They're bringing back the entire team that played in 1968 for the national championship.
I mean, how many of those guys are still living?
Well, quite a few of them. I can go to their. Let's do this. This will be fun. I can go to the
you only got 2 minutes.
I can go to the picture here. Let's see. Here they are right here. J.A. Williams, Andy White, Mike Sadler. These are all living. Paul Bransfield. Let me skip over here. Wait a minute. George Little.
Danny Grant.
Gillespie, Cooper, Ninus, Al Head, the great one out of Headland. Danny Grant, Bobby Ensland, Hugh Cole, Sam Bird, Alvin Dees, all those guys are still around. Vince Green, Frank Elmore, Tommy Moffitt, David Cooper, Larry Gross. And of course, there's quite a few more.
How many guys did they draft back then in NIA?
Well, let's see here. I'll count them real quick.
Probably about 50.
They didn't draft that many for the game. In fact, they had to take a student coach who had been a student coach all year long and tell him to put on the pads that he's going to have to play. To have enough players to work out, you know. But they were a great team, and they won a national championship, Troy's first ever national championship in 1968. They beat Texas A&I, a very well-respected team from Texas, to win it all. Billy Atkins was a great coach. That championship year was 11-1, and of course played that championship game in Montgomery's Crampton Bowl and beat Texas A&I 45-35. But that's a lot of people. Now, let me tell you this, Mike. Let me tell you how well I know this. That is incorrect. The SIDs got it at 45-35. The final score was 45-38 was the final score, and I was there, and I know that for a fact. The final score was 43-30. Wait a minute, 35. 43-35 was the final score of that game, and he's got it at 45-35. But I'm almost positive this computer of mine is not completely gone. But it's a lot of history to talk about, and I hope a lot of you have enjoyed our show today, talking ball, and I'm not trying to...
Troy Trojans are going 14-0, everybody.
Troy Trojans can go 14-0 if they win the 2 big games up front, the Boise game at home and the Nebraska game in Nebraska. And I'm going to see that game, Mike. I've already got my tickets. I'm heading to Nebraska to see that ball game. And my intentions are to see Troy win that football game. And I really believe they can. Hope you've enjoyed our show today. And we appreciate all of our sponsors, of course, our good friends at Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. Go out and get you one of these Pike County hats. And rather good-looking Cardinal hat this is right here from our good friends, Ricky, the new owner, and all the great staff out at Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. And also I want to remind you that Troy Bank and Trust Company is the only bank you'll ever need with 12 locations to choose from. And we appreciate you watching our show today. Southeast Alabama Gas District and AI Cook with gas, heat with gas. It's a great product, no question. Of course, Jim Skinner Honda in Dothan. Garnet Riggs has been a strong Troy guy for a long time. Town and Country Flooring, Scott and the great folks there. When it comes to carpet, they've got you covered, believe you me. And I want to mention our good friends also at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep on the bypass right here in Troy, and of course Ram trucks. Great selection to choose from at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep on the bypass. And while we're talking about automobiles, how about Bill Jackson Chevrolet, also located down the street? A great selection of Chevrolets, Fords, and Dodge Chrysler Jeeps and Rams located within a short walk of each other right here on the bypass in Troy, Alabama. Sisters would be my choice for lunch today. Go to Sisters. I'll see you again tomorrow morning, bright and early. Got a good show for you. I'll see you then.